Okay, what are you saying, people, and welcome back to another live stream. Now, before we get into this, make sure you join me on my Telegram channel. I left a link to that in the live chat and also the description below. So you're posting a lot of different trading setups there throughout the week, and you don't want to be missing out on that. So make sure to check that out. But like I said, I've got another live stream for you. I'm going to talk you through what's happening in the charts and see if you've got any opportunities coming our way. So AUSD, you can see here on the 4 hourly, had a big push to the upside. Prices looks like it's running out a bit of steam, had a big push. You can see on the daily quite overextended to the upside, so it could be seeing some retrace to the downside for this pair, but again still very bullish. I think overall the price is still up for AU, but again any movement to the downside is probably just a retrace, and then could see a further continuation to the upside for this pair. And I think we're still gonna head to 0.8 probably, or maybe 0.81. Again, that'll probably take maybe a couple of weeks to get there, but I think we're still on our way to the upside for this pair. Might see a little bit of retrace first, because again we are overextended here. We just pushed the upside from this area, as you can see, but consolidation, they had a big push to the upside, so could be seeing some retrace now for AUSD, but I think overall the price is still on its way to the upside. Next, Euro USD, again similar for this one, big push to the upside. We tap back into this previous area of support, as you can see, tap back into that same area at the support, and we saw a big push to the upside, and actually taking out this previous high there where we saw all this momentum come to the downside. So Euro USD is looking like we could be seeing a bit of retrace. I still think for this pair, again, still further room to the upside. You've got this previous swing high here, where we had all this bearish momentum come all the way down to the lows here. As you can see, really nice resistance, gave us a really nice move. I haven't quite tested that area yet, so I still think further into the upside to come test that area, maybe take out that area and see a higher past that area. It looks like we had a big bearish candle there in 4H, so it looks like it could be subjected to a bit of retrace, maybe into that prior resistance, now turn support, and could see further momentum to the upside. You can see in the hourly as well, strongly to the downside, so looking like we are seeing a bit of retrace in this pair. Still treating it as a retrace. I don't think we're having a reversal just yet for Euro USD because of the higher time frames like the daily. If I jump to the daily, it looks like we could be seeing further continuation to the upside. As you can see, we've gone from making lower lows and we're starting to make higher lows now. So it looks like the trend could be shifting here for Euro USD and could be seeing further continuation all the way back up to the previous weekly high. So bias is still to the upside for Euro USD. However, this now is looking like a little bit of retracement, maybe into that previous resistance turn support. It could see further continuation to the upside for that pair from that area. But as you can see, it looks like we'll be seeing some retrace now for Euro USD from a 4 hourly perspective. GP USD, again, still very bullish, as you can see for this pair. Constantly making those higher highs and higher lows. Again, I did say we probably could tap into 1.41, and we're almost there. I believe it's around this area here. And again, we're still very close to that area. So again, GPUSD is very extended, as you can see, ever since we left this consolidation over here. We had the fake out, the news take us back in, and then we've just been on a really strong bull run ever since we broke out that consolidation. So price is looking very bullish ever since then, and we are due a bit of a counter trend move, some retrace now for GPUSD. Because again, you can see on the daily, very extended there, and even the weekly as well, starting to really push to the upside. So retrace is due, but again, my bias for this pair is still very much to the upside. Any movement to the downside, I will still be treating as retrace, expecting the market to move higher after that. So far, again, it's been bullish here, but it is losing momentum, so might be seeing some retrace to the downside, maybe at 1.41. And then could be seeing the market maybe push down to 1.4, 1.39, and then maybe see a bigger push to the upside after that. But right now the market's still bullish, not really giving us too many signs that it's about to retrace yet. And as long as price keeps at that formation of higher highs, higher lows, could easily expect further continuation to the upside for GP USD. USD JPY for this pair, we did see a nice movement to the downside for this week. As you can see, really nice resistance across here, bit of a fake out to the upside, testing that area up there, fell to the downside, retested there, and then yesterday we had a really nice melt to the downside. So my bias is still to the downside for USD JPY. I do think we are currently testing a trend line here in the market, which may keep us in that uptrend So again, you can see a really nice trend line there, 2 tests there, third, and then we had a fourth, bit of a bullish reaction out of that same trend line. So if price does keep respecting this trend line, it could technically give us another swing to the upside back to the highs. But I think USDJPY looks like it wants to come back down from the higher time frames. As you can see from the daily here, you can see we're losing momentum. This looks like it was just a big fake out to the upside and then came crashing back down. So we could in fact come back and retest this resistance here, maybe see a bit of a push, retest that resistance, then fall to the downside. But if you do take out this resistance, it could be likely that we're going to create another higher high. So I think for me, as long as price stays underneath that level there, I think we're going to see a break of this trend line and see price come and tap into this previous support that gave us the swing to the upside. And again, at that point, we'll probably have a reversal. So could see USDJPY come all the way back down to the previous lows. But currently looking a little bit bullish. You can see that 4H candle there. So we are likely to see maybe some further continuation to the upside and retrace some of that bearish movement that we saw yesterday. As you can see, very strong bearish candles to the downside. This bullish movement here could just be a retrace, maybe even retrace it all the way up to that area. But I still think the bigger move is still to the downside for USDJPY, and we're going to start to see a change in trend for this pair. So treating any movement to the upside for now as retrace, then could be seeing further movement to the downside back to the same area of support, and we'll be acting as support there again as well. USD looking quite bullish. We did have a bit of a fake out yesterday, but as you can see, we're now looking like we're breaking through this area. So really nice resistance there, push to the downside, resistance there again, and now we've had a big push to the upside. Price pull back down, so it hasn't really broken out that area fully yet, but it does look like it's going to, because it's making those higher lows and higher lows there. As you can see, there's a low, higher low, so it looks like the momentum is still to the upside, and it looks like we could be seeing price maybe even come all the way back to the highs up here for USDCHF if we manage to break and hold outside that resistance. Because at that point, from a daily point of view, it looks like we could be getting a bit of a reversal here. So nice bullish trend, looks like a reversal into a bullish trend. It could be seeing price come all the way up to around this area here from a daily point of view. So if you do manage to break and hold through this level, I'm favouring for USDCHF to come back to the previous swing high all the way up there, or maybe even higher. Go and test around 0.91 potentially for USDCHF. But right now looking bullish here, might see a bit of retrace, but if we hold outside the area, it looks like USDCHF is going all the way back to the previous swing high all the way up here, and then potentially even higher. Next, going to take a quick look at CAD JPY. So I'm currently in a short trade for this one, looking for a swing to the downside, but a really nice push to the upside to start the week off. Then we came crashing right back down, back below that resistance. So it was looking like we had a bit of a false breakout. So I was looking to capitalize on the move to the downside. As you can see, since I've taken this trade, price hasn't really gone anywhere. Really had a nice move to the downside, pull back up, but kind of just a bit of sideways movement. So we're going to see how that gets on through the live stream. But again, as long as we stay underneath that resistance, I think we could be seeing a nice push to the downside off this fake out here and really take off. We still haven't broken through this support here, so I'm anticipating a break of that support. Obviously, it has not happened yet, but if we do, could really see this CAD JPY take off to the downside. Really nice resistance here. We didn't really get a retest of. As you can see, really nice resistance there. Second, third, push to the upside. Never got a retest. Just continued in that bull rally to the upside. So could be seeing a retrace, retest of that area there at least, and potentially can go even further depending how much bearish momentum we have to the downside. But so far, CAD JPY moving a little bit sideways there, expecting to see a breakout to the downside for CAD JPY. Euro GBP, this pair is still looking very bearish, as you can see here, continuously moving to the downside. Again, we are breaking through this previous area of support here, so really key area of support, big push to the upside. As you can see, we're actually breaking through that area. I was expecting to see a bit of retrace to the upside because we are very overextended here to the downside, but it looks like Euro GBP is just going to keep being bearish and seeing further momentum to the downside. So I think Euro GBP could work its way all the way down to around 0.86, I believe. So this resistance here, as you can see, really nice resistance, certainly to the downside. So I think we could be seeing a test of that area from a weekly perspective. So further movement down to 0.86, but for now, on the 4 hour, sorry, But now on the 4 hour, you can see we are very, very bearish here. So probably expect further continuation to the downside, maybe test 0.86, and then could see a bit of movement to the upside, because again, we are very extended. So if we do get movement to the upside, it could be quite a big one to again retrace all of that bearishness that we've seen in the daily and the weekly chart. You can see the weekly, I've had about 5 bearish candles in a row there for this week. So could be seeing a big movement to the upside for Euro GBP, but right now still looking quite bearish, as you can see there on the 4 hourly time frame. Next, we take a look at GBP/JPY. As you can see for this pair, still very bullish as well, creating higher highs. This is the key level that I draw on the weekly time frame. So again, you can see the weekly here, really nice resistance across there, big move to the downside, resistance as well, big move to the downside, and now we're testing that same area. So we're coming to a very strong area of weekly resistance. We could see a potential break of it, and then maybe price comes back in, because again, a lot of sellers will just be above this area with stop losses. So we could be seeing a push to the upside, trigger the stop losses, and then price comes back down, because we get very, very strong area resistance. Normally could see a manipulation of it, and then price comes back in to the downside. And as you can see on the daily, still looking very bullish there, and on the 4 hourly as well, still looking very bullish there as well. So really no sign for GBP/JPY that we're going to turn to the downside just yet. So again, could be seeing further continuation to the upside, maybe to 149 potentially. I did say 148, but as you can see, we're actually at above 148 right now. So could see further continuation to 149 maybe, or maybe even 150 before GBP/JPY wants to come back down. But I think we could be seeing quite a big move to the downside, because even on the weekly chart, you can see we're very overextended to the upside, had many consecutive bullish candles. So we're definitely due some retrace for this pair, but overall still looking very, very bullish here for GBP/JPY. Next, we take a look at Euro/JPY. So for this pair, again, still looking a little bit bullish, but this one's a bit more unclear, a bit more choppy. As you can see, really nice resistance there where we saw price have a really strong move to the downside, found support in this area, choppy price action to the upside there on the 4H, bit of a strong move there to the downside, but as you can see, we pull back up, and now price is looking a little bit bullish there. We do have a bit of a resistance and support going through this level. Price is struggling to break through that area, but again, no real clarity here for Euro/JPY as to the direction. You can see the daily chart is still bullish here, price making higher highs, higher lows, recently just taken out that previous swing high, which gave us a strong move to the downside. As you can see, we've kind of taken out that high, created another higher high. So again, from a daily point of view, do expect to see retrace, but as you can see in the 4H, still looking bullish here, and price looks like it still wants to make higher highs, higher lows. So again, not really seeing much there for Euro/JPY. Looks like we could even see maybe price come back to the previous highs. Previous highs up there where we saw the big move to the downside, retest that area before seeing a drop. But right now, price is still looking bullish. So not really looking for any trades on Euro/JPY right now. Maybe if it's come up here, give us a bit of a double top. If you see some nice rejection there, could look to anticipate a double top and seeing a nice push to the downside. But right now, there's nothing really clear there with Euro/JPY. GBP/CAD still looking bullish here. As you can see, price action there on the daily. 4H still looking very bullish, higher highs, higher lows. We do have now this trend line here in the market, so looking at those 2 points there or 3 points there, see price is still pushing up. I did say during my weekly analysis that I probably expect to see a test of 1.78. You can see we're almost there to test that level. It's a little bit higher than that, so can be seeing further movement to the upside for GBP/CAD, because in the higher time frames like the weekly, monthly, looking like it could be reversing to the upside, and we could be seeing a really nice push to some new highs, maybe even up to 1.8. But for now, you can see on the 4H candle looking very bullish here. Might see some retrace now, because again, a little bit overextended there on the hourly, but nonetheless still looking bullish. Maybe if you go and break through that trend line, we could see a deeper push to the downside. But right now, again, there's nothing. There's no real opportunity to sell that market. Again, I think the market is still on its way to the upside now for GBP/CAD. So could be seeing further movement to the upside for this pair. Maybe test 1.78 and then see a bit of retrace. But so far, GBP/CAD is still looking very bullish. Ends the USD, as you can see, we've broken to the upside out of that resistance that I've been talking about on the 4H. Really strong resistance, support, resistance, 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 resistance all across there, a bit of a fake out to the downside, and then you see we broke to the upside there. So NZD USD is still looking quite bullish here. We are slowing down. You can see we're starting to see more wicks coming into the market, some bearish candles there, so we are slowing down. We have taken out the previous swing high here on the weekly time frame. So this is the previous weekly high, and as you can see, we violated that and created some new highs there for NZD USD. So likely to see a bit of retrace for this pair, because again, had a really big push to the upside, haven't really retraced that, so we could be seeing a bit of retracement and then move it to the upside, but nonetheless we are still looking very bullish. I do think still for NZD USD we're on our way to 0.74, so any movement to the downside is still gonna treat that as retrace, and then expecting to see further movement to the upside for this pair to around 0.74 or maybe even further, because 0.74 is like a key weekly level for this market, and it looks like it's on its way to go and test that area. So expecting to see any movement to the downside for NZD USD as retrace, and expecting to see the market go and have another push to the upside, create a higher high. But right now looking a little bit of extended, could be seeing some retrace now first, maybe even to retest this area before continuing higher. But overall bias for NZD USD is still to the upside. Might see a retrace first, but I think we're still on our way to around 0.74. NZD CAD, this one here still looking very bullish. On my weekly analysis, I said we'll probably see a push to the previous highs. As you can see, if I zoom out a little bit, you can see we actually have had a really nice push to those highs there. I do think we'll probably end up actually taking those highs out actually and see price give us a higher high, even though we have wicked higher, but I mean like a strong daily close above those levels. It looks like right now we're having a bit of retrace. As you can see for NZD CAD, we had a really nice push to the upside. You do expect to see a retrace after a very strong impulsive leg like that, but I think again the movement to the downside is only retrace, and the bigger move in the market is still to the upside for NZD CAD, and maybe you could see a hit of 0.93 of this market, or maybe even higher. So could see some retrace. Again, we do have a really nice area of resistance here, which will be turned support, so maybe see price rollovers come test this area, which could be a nice place to buy back in the market and see NZD CAD go and create some new highs. But NZD CAD, again, my long-term bias is still to the upside for this pair, and any movement to the downside is retrace right now, because again you can see we're kind of given higher highs, higher lows. If I jump to the daily, you can see there's a higher low, higher low, higher low. Now we do expect to see a higher high, unless of course we get a double top here, which in that case we'll probably see a reversal. But if price does take out that previous high, I think we're going to see a really big movement to the upside for NZD CAD and see some new highs for this pair. NZD-JPY, again another NZD pair here. As you can see, still very bullish here on the daily chart, and again even on the 4H still looking very bullish as well. So recently had a big push to the upside. Looks like we're just seeing some retrace here. Again, I think NZD-JPY is still on its way up. Could even see a bit of a deeper retrace, maybe to come back into this area. Previous resistance here will be turned support, so could maybe see the market retrace a little bit further, test that area, and then see the continuation to the upside, because again you can see right now very strong bullish price action here on the daily, and it's quite hard to anticipate any reversals really with the strength of the price action we're seeing here to the upside, especially in the higher time frames of the daily, and the 4H is looking quite bullish there as well. So likely to see a bit of retrace now for NZD-JPY to connect the previous swing lows in the market. So initially test there, second, third, so might see a fourth test of the trend line. Again, it lines up quite well with that previous resistance turned support, so a little bit of confluence in that area, so might see a retrace to that kind of area there around 76.595, and then see some continuation. But nonetheless, I think any movement to the downside again is just retrace, and the bigger move is still to the upside for NZD-JPY, unless we probably take out this trend line. Take out that trend line, might change my bias and could see a deeper pullback, but I think the bigger move for now is still to the upside for NZD-JPY, as long as we respect that trend line. Next, we can take a look at Euro NZD. So Euro NZD is still looking very bullish here, very bearish, sorry, not bullish, very bearish here. You can see there's a previous swing low, violate those lows, create some new lows there. Looks like we're pulling back and retesting as resistance. I'm not sure if you'll see a continuation from this area, even though we are testing prior support and resistance, just because we're very overextended to the downside. There is a possibility we could break through this area back again, come to retest this area and retrace the bearish movement that we had towards the end of last week a little bit more, come and retest that area before continuing to the downside, just because again we do have all this area here that hasn't really been retraced yet. So could see that happen, but again the market is still very bearish here. You can see on the multiple time frames, the 4-hourly, the daily and the weekly, still very bearish for this market. So could easily see the continuation to the downside from where we are. But again, if we do see a push to the upside, breaking through this level, testing that area, I think that would be a really nice place to expect some further movement to the downside for this pair. And again, any movement so far is still going to be treating as a retrace to the upside and seeing some continuation back down again. Again, we do have this kind of medium term trend line here in the market, connecting that swing high, these highs there. So could see a retrace maybe back into that trend line maybe, which again does line up with this previous support now term resistance. Then could see some further continuation to the downside for Euro NZD and see that trade really take off to the downside. Gold, I'm currently in a long position for this pair, looking for a nice swing to the upside. Again, from a daily point of view, we came to test this really strong area of support, looking for further continuation to the upside. There we can see price go a lot further if we were looking at a reversal, looking to see if we can get a movement into this area around here, take out that level and see a bit of a reversal come into that level. So far I had a really nice push. I did take some of my profit because again we are coming to a quite strong area of price support now term resistance, so it could send the market back down again, but just going to see how that gets on. Again, we'll be looking to see a bit of retrace first, so we'll be happy to stay in for some retrace, but looking to see if you can get a further continuation to go and test this level all the way around there, around 1845, 1850 area, or maybe even potentially further. But still going to stay in this long trade for gold, see if we can get it up to 1850 potentially for that pair. So currently in the gold long, and earlier, like I said, CAD JPY short. Going to see how these pairs get on. CAD JPY, like I said earlier, not too much has happened since I took it yesterday, but still anticipating a break of that support and seeing price take off to go and test this area down here. Prior resistance now turns support, so see if you can get a nice drop into that level, maybe even further potentially. I believe you still do have this trend line here in the market, so connect that swing low, connect that swing low, could see a bigger move into that trend line there. Again, that's a little bit more hopeful, but for now still targeting this resistance here, now turn support, so you can get a nice test of that area. So going to see how that gets on throughout the live stream. We'll keep you guys updating how it's going. Same with the gold trade, to see how that's going there as well. And again, if anyone's in any trades and wants me to check them out, see how they're doing, just drop in the live chat, or if anyone wants me to take a look at any different charts, any different markets, any different pairs, and just wants my analysis on it, just drop it in the live chat as well. I'll make sure I'll give you some analysis on those pairs. Like I said, just going to see how my trades get on and see, take a look at a couple of other pairs as well to see how they develop. Okay, so we're gonna have a quick look at Euro USD. So for this pair, again, my bias is still to the upside for this pair because mainly of the daily time frame. It looks like there we're creating some higher highs now, well, higher lows anyway. So you can see here, there's our low there. It came and tested this area of the market here. A lot of momentum to the upside. As you can see, tapped into that area and saw a really nice push to the upside there. It looks like we formed a higher low there towards the end of last week. Had a nice strong move to the downside, then the equal move back up. It looks like that was a bit of a fake move there, giving us a higher low. So it could be seeing further continuation to the upside for Euro USD here. As you can see, recently saw a really nice push to the upside after this retracement. So again, it looks like we could be seeing it move back into this area here. Prior resistance turn support. So if we do hold that area, could easily see further continuation. So I still think we're going to come and test this area here in the market. Really nice resistance. This is our previous kind of swing high of the market. So I do think we're probably going to come and take out that area, or at least go and test it. We're kind of coming into that region, but I think we still take out that area. So again, still treating this movement here for USD as a bit of retracement back into that area there. There is a possibility we could come all the way back to this level here in the market. Previous support there again, and maybe connect with this trend line here. So again, connecting the previous two swing lows. So we could pull all the way back and test this area here, prior support there again, and then get the move to the upside. That is still very possible. But if price does hold this area here, prior resistance turn support, could easily see rejection from that area and to see further continuation to the upside. But again, my bias is still to the upside for this pair, and I'm still treating it as any movement to the downside just as a retrace to see a bigger movement to go to the upside and create some higher highs for this pair. So two kind of key levels I'm looking at for a retracement to happen, either into this level, which is kind of just below where price is now, prior resistance turn support, that area could hold and see further continuation to the upside, or we could take out that level, pull back into this area with the confluence of the trend line there as well, and then see the bigger move to the upside. Either way, I still think we're on our way to the upside as long as that trend line there stays intact. So biases to the upside, two levels where price could potentially reverse at, or any potentially could even reverse in the middle of that area. It doesn't have to come to those areas specifically, but those are the two areas that I'll be looking at to see if we do hold, to see further continuation to the upside. So either this level there, prior resistance turn support, see further continuation from there, or this prior support here along with the trend line there as well, and then see the movement to the upside. But either way, I think the longer move, the bigger move in the market is still to the upside for Euro USD. So again, hope that analysis helped. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick look at GBP JPY. Okay, so for this pair, again, it's still looking quite bullish for GBP JPY. We're coming into that weekly level. Well, we're already in that weekly level that I've been speaking about since last week. As you can see, really strong level of resistance here in the market. Nice push to the downside. Again, resistance there, so we'll be acting as resistance there again. So we're currently testing that very strong weekly level. We're likely to see a reaction at that level, but there is a possibility, since how bullish pound JPY has been so far, there's a possibility we might break above it before coming back down. So we could see a bit of a false breakout, as in a big wick to the upside, and then see a bit of retracement. Because as you can see here, we've seen multiple bullish candles there in a row, consecutive bullish candles there. So we are due to see some retracement, or at least to see a bearish week of some kind from a weekly point of view. So we are definitely due some retrace for this pair. We're coming to that very, very strong level of resistance. Likely to see a reaction, but it could be a scenario where we spike above it before coming back down. Daily, you can see we're still quite bullish here. Again, momentum is slowing down. You can see we start to see some more wicks, more bearish candles coming back into the market. Again, still very bullish, but it is showing signs that we are slowing down. You can see in the 4H as well, big push to the upside, breaking through this level here, and then a lot of bearish candles coming into the market as we're slowing down. So it does look like we'll see a bit of a retrace to the downside for GBP/JPY, since we're very, very extended to the upside. We are likely to see some retrace now for this pair. But again, it is still very bullish, and as long as price maintains that that structure, that trend, price could go on for much further, because again, the trend is still very much to the upside, and possibly could be seeing a reversal on the higher time frame. So right now on the H4 time frame, price is still looking bullish. You can see the 10 a.m. candle closed quite bullish to the upside, back at that resistance, probably creating some higher highs there. So we could still see another push to the upside for GBP/JPY. I believe now we're getting a little bit of a trend line here, and at these 3 points. So again, initial test there, second test there, third test there, broke below it a little bit, but as you can see now, back above that trend line. So maybe if price can break through that trend line properly another time, a second time, and hold below it, we could see a bit of a steeper retracement for GBP/JPY, maybe back into this level here, where's our second test, or maybe even all the way to this level down here. But as you can see so far with the price action, we are still looking quite bullish. Again, we are coming to that level, so we are likely to see some type of counter trend move or bearish move to the downside for pound JPY, but as of yet, it doesn't look like it's going to happen just yet. So again, it's hard to tell if we will push to the downside this week, but we are due definitely some bearish move for GBP/JPY. But for now, still looking bullish here, unless we see another break of that trend line, or see some strong impulsive bearish candles coming back down. It looks like we could see another push higher for this pair, because again, still very bullish on the higher time frames, and 4H, you can see the structure of the market: higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So it looks like that is continuing. So for now, it looks like we could be seeing another push to the upside, but if we do see some change around, some strong impulsive bearish candles coming to the downside, breaking back below that trend line again, then potentially could be seeing a bit of a counter trend move. But for now, GBP/JPY is still looking quite bullish. So I hope that analysis helped. Okay, so then take a look at AUD/USD and GBP/USD. Okay, so for these pairs, as you can see, overall direction for me for AU is still to the upside. I think we can go and test 0.8 potentially, or maybe 0.81. Again, we're likely to see some retrace to the downside before that happens, so treating any movement to the downside for this pair as retracement, and expecting to see further continuation to the upside for this pair. Yeah, we still do have a trend line there in the market, so it could actually retrace to go and hit that area. Here on the 4 hourly, you can see we're starting to lose momentum to the upside there, starting to see some bearish candles come back into the market, so we could see some bit bigger retracement to the downside, maybe again tap into that resistance. Again, this area here, prior resistance, will be turned support, or maybe even the trend line just above that area. But as you can see, price is still looking a little bit bullish here. On the hourly, saw a nice push to the downside. Looks like prices tapped back into this area here, prior resistance turned support, so seeing a bit of a bullish reaction from that area there on the hourly for AU. But nonetheless, it looks like we could be seeing some retracement, but again, AU is still very bullish on the higher time frames, all the way up to the monthly, all the way down to the daily. And again, for hourly, looks like we could be seeing some retracement, but again, not really a clear opportunity to see price really get to the downside for this pair. But overall, could be seeing some retrace first, and then I do expect to see AU probably continue to the upside to around 0.8. So potentially could see maybe a tap of that trend line, or maybe see price pull back and test that resistance, now turn support, then could actually see price continue to the upside after that retracement, because it does look like AU is losing steam to the upside there if those bearish candles come back into the market. So likely to see some retrace, and as you can see as well from Friday, a little bit overextended to the upside for that big push to the upside. Haven't really retraced that for AU, so likely to see some retrace. You can test these areas here, resistance there, support as well for the trend line, but I still think AU is going to the upside from analysis on the higher time frames. And GBP/USD for this pair, again, still looking bullish here. I did say on my weekly analysis, probably expect GBP/USD to get to 1.4. As you can see, we already actually hit that already. It's only Tuesday and already hit 1.4. So that just shows you how bullish right now GBP/USD is. So again, right now, GBP/USD is very, very difficult to short if you're looking to short the pair, because again, of how strong the pound is right now. So again, I still think long-term GBP/USD is still on its way to the upside. Could be seeing a test of 1.41. Could be seeing a test of 1.42 soon. But again, because it's a little bit extended, could be seeing some retracement for GBP/USD. As you can see, nice trend line down the market. There's connecting those two previous swing lows. So it could be seeing another test of that trend line there if the market was to retrace to the downside. But still, for now, treating any movement that we see to the downside for GBP/USD still as retracement. And I'm still expecting to see the bigger move to the upside, just because of analysis on the higher time frames of the monthly, weekly, and even the daily, really. So GBP/USD, I'm still biased to the upside for this pair. But again, since we're overextended here, you can see the market is losing momentum to the upside. We're likely to see a bit bigger of a retrace now for GBP/USD to the downside. Again, maybe into that resistance, turn support here. So again, resistance there, turn support. Could be seeing a movement into that area, or even that trend line just beside it. But again, if you do see another movement to the upside, again, pound USD is very bullish now. Wouldn't be surprised if we were to see another push to the upside during this week. But again, probably favouring some retrace, and then maybe the continuation to the upside for GBP/USD, just because of the higher time frames and how bullish we have been looking for this pair. So likely to see some retrace, but I still think GBP/USD is on its way up. Yeah, I'll take a look at GBP/CHF. So GBP/CHF, again, recently big push to the upside. We are coming into a key level on the weekly time frame, I do think. As you can see here, prior resistance, well, actually no, prior support, sorry. Prior support, term resistance in this area, so this will be at term resistance. Currently we are above that area on the weekly time frame, but again, it is the weekly. We still got Wednesday, Thursday and Friday left for that weekly candle to close, so this could just easily be a wick to the upside, and then we could see price pull back down, because again, really strong area of support on the weekly time frame. We didn't get a retest of that area. Price found support there, just plummeted to the downside, no retest of that area, and as you can see, we're coming into that area now. So we're likely to see some type of bearish reaction from a weekly point of view, because we're coming to a very key level of price support. Again, you can still see we are looking quite bullish there on the daily, taking off to the upside, and the 4 hourly as well, taking off to the upside. So we are likely to see some retracement now for GPCHF, because again, how extended it is on the higher time frames like the weekly and the daily, and even the 4 hourly as well. So we are likely to see some retrace to the downside. Maybe even the counter trend move could see a deeper move, just because how strong the level is on the weekly. But as you can see so far, again, still very, very bullish here on the 4 hourly time frame, with that big candle closing to the upside at 10 a.m. So again, price is still looking bullish for this pair. We are likely to see some reaction because of where we are in the market on the higher time frames. But again, on the 4 hourly time frame, there is no real signal there that we're looking to turn around just yet, because we could easily break through the level. There's no sign that we're turning around just yet. But again, since it's a weekly level, it could take to the end of the week before we see a really strong bearish reaction for this pair. So again, very key level that we're at now. Going to be expecting to see some type of bearish reaction, but as you can see so far, we are still bullish, so not going to expect that just yet. And actually could see further continuation if we do keep on this higher low, higher high structure. But so far, GPCHF still looking very bullish, looking to see if we can get a bearish reaction, but so far there isn't one there yet. So currently it's just gone 12 p.m. is the end of the live stream. We'll be doing a quick rundown on some of the major pairs that we looked at earlier, see how they go on, and also my current trades as well. So AUDUSD for this pair, again, like I said earlier, a bit overextended to the upside, likely to see some retrace. My overall bias for this pair is still to the upside, but again, you can really see we had a big push to the end of the week last week. So we're likely to see some retrace now, maybe even to the trend line potentially, or previous resistance turn support. Again, could pull there, but again, because it's so bullish, we could easily just see another push to the upside here for AU. We do have prior resistance turn support here in this area, and as you can see, we're having a bit of reaction already at that area, but likely to see some retrace just because we're extended. But again, my bias for the long term for AU is still to the upside, and I think we can get to 0.8 or maybe 0.81 potentially. Euro USD for this pair, again, bias is still to the upside here. I think we can see a break of that resistance there in the market and see price actually come all the way back to the highs up there, but we do probably need to take out that resistance before can have a bit more confidence in saying that we can go to the highs. But right now you can see we had a bit of a bearish reaction there in the 4H. Again, you can see we do have this trend line which kind of gave us that bearish reaction there. So initial test there, second, third there, so had that bearish reaction. So we are likely to see some retrace for USD. As you can see, we had a big push to the upside from last week, which has continued into this week. So again, I did highlight this area, prior resistance turn support, might see a reaction there, or could actually see market pull back down to this support here. So again, support could see the market pull down into that area, where we do have the confluence of the trend line here, and then see the continuation to the upside. But as long as we stay above this trend line, I think the bigger move for Euro USD is still to the upside, because it looks like we're having a change of momentum here on the daily, going from creating lower lows, now we're creating higher lows. So it could be seeing a push to the upside, but of course, this is kind of like the key level that we need to take out for us to really see an uptrend here in the market. But I do think we're probably going to take out that level for Euro USD here, and this bearish movement here is just a retrace. So expecting to see any bearish movement to the downside for Euro USD as retracement, and expecting to see a bigger push to the upside now for Euro USD. GPUSD, like I said earlier, still looking very bullish here, likely to see some retrace, because again, a little bit of extended, could come back and test the trend line there potentially. But again, as long as price keeps up that bullish formation, it could even give us another push to the upside for this pair, because again, higher time frames, monthly, weekly and daily, are still very bullish here, but we are likely to see some retrace. So again, buying at the highs is probably not a really good idea there here on the 4 hourly time frame, because we could be seeing some retrace first before we do continue to the upside here. I still think we can go and smash 1.42 potentially, but right now it looks like we might see some retrace, since the price does look like it's slowing down. Could see a retrace and then the continuation later on. USD CAD, currently we're at a really key level of support here on the daily time frame. You can see price support all across here, and now it's at that same area again. So right now we're having a bit of a bullish reaction here for GPUSD. I mean for USD CAD, sorry, having a bit of a bullish reaction. So could actually see a push to the upside. I did say in my weekly analysis we could see it move into this level here potentially, and then see a continuation to the downside, because I still think USD CAD is probably going to create some new lows and see price really push to the downside. I don't think we have quite what we did kind of wick below that wick there, so we have created new lows technically, but we haven't really seen a push below and actually see price hold there. So it looks like we might see a bit of a push to the upside, because again we've kind of I've extended a little bit, so could tap back into the area there. Price support will be time resistance, and then see the continuation to create some new lows there, because again the structure does look very, very bearish even on the higher time frames. But you can see in the 4H it looks like we are failing to push lower than this support, so could actually see a bullish reaction. But if price was to roll over and break through that support, we could easily see a bigger move to the downside and see some lower lows here in the market. USDJPY here, you can see we're having a bit of a reaction at this trend line here in the market. So if I zoom out, you can see nice support there, second, third, fourth, and now having our fifth test of that trend line. So again, my bias is to the downside for USDJPY. We might see a bigger push to the upside and we come back and we test that resistance. But I think as long as we stay below that resistance, I think we could be seeing a move back into this support. But we had this nice swing to the upside. Again, we do have prior support here, now time resistance. So support there, time resistance, having a bit of a bearish reaction out of that area. But I do think we could be seeing a break of this trend line eventually and see price tap back into that support there, where we saw that big swing to the upside. Again, we could see a bigger push to the upside, because again the trend line is still intact, so it might see a push back into that resistance. But from there, I think we'll probably go and break the trend line, or we could just break the trend line for where we are now and see further continuation. Either way, I'm still expecting to see a break of that trend line and then move into this support. However, if we don't and we see a break of that resistance there, I'll probably change my bias. I'll probably think that at that point we'll probably create some new highs in the market and see this bullish trend for USDJPY just continue to the upside at that point. But for now, I think we'll probably see another push to the downside for this pair and test into that level, or maybe even further. And USDCHF, this one again, big push to the upside, as you can see to start the day off. 10 a.m. Candle there closed very, very bullish. I don't think we have taken out this resistance just yet. As you can see, if I can hit the high point of the wick there, we've kind of closed at that wick, so we haven't really taken out that level just yet. So we might see a bit of a bearish reaction here for JPY, but if we do take out this level and hold, I think USDCHF is probably going to come back to the highs. If we don't take out that level and hold, and we see price eventually get rejected from this resistance, we could see a move back into this support down here, and maybe even see a break of that support at that point, and see price actually tap back into this level down here. So I think if that level holds where it is currently at, I'm probably favouring a move to the downside for USDCHF into that support, and at that point might actually see it move back into this low here. But if you do successfully break through that resistance and hold, we'll probably see it move back into the highs and possibly even create a higher high at that point, because USDCHF will look very, very bullish from then on, creating higher highs and higher lows. But for now, we're still hanging on to that resistance, going to see how that next 4H candle closes, and then probably make a judgment off that one, or maybe another candle or two. But for now, still currently trading on that resistance. If you do break it, probably favoring move back to the highs, maybe even higher high. Hold, could be seeing a bigger push to the downside into that support, or maybe even further. So currently I am short on CAD-JPY. Again, not too much of movement has happened in this pair so far. We're short since yesterday. As you can see, price kind of just hovering around where I've entered. Again, expecting to see a move to the downside to break through this support here in the market. Again, we had a really nice fake out to the upside. So prior resistance there from last week, big push to the upside, big push back down. So anticipating a bit of a fake out there, and can see continuation to the downside to come and test this area here, prior resistance, now turn support. And as you can see here, we had a really nice push to the upside. Didn't retest that level at all, just continued that rally. So looking to see if we can get at least a retest of that area there for CAD-JPY. And I'm currently long on gold as well from back down here. Really nice push to the upside. We tested this prior support here on daily, so you can see really nice support, which gave us a move all the way up to this level here around 1950, sorry. So it could actually be seeing a really nice push to the upside again for gold. And as you can see, so far we've had quite a nice push to the upside for this pair. So expecting to see further continuation to the upside for gold, looking to hold that for probably throughout the week and see how that gets on. But yeah, those are my two current trades. I'm just going to keep checking them, see how they're getting on, and we'll let you guys know how they're getting on during my live stream tomorrow. So make sure you're there to check that out. But again, that's the end of the live stream. Thank you again for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and also leave a like on the video if you're feeling generous. But thanks again for watching, and until the next one, I will see you guys later.